Tonight on Podcast Them Down, we're talking about fucking Draculas. Hail Metal Nation! It is I, Tim, from Podcast Them Down and various other outfits whose links you can find in the description. And I'm here with Mike and Matt, and we're here to discuss in a recent metal promo roundup. We confidently said that there was an artist who was clearly just a sexy Dracula, or
this is true.
He looked like a sexy Dracula, and apparently he took offense to it.
He did.
He took offense to it. So, I don't want to give the impression that we're second guessing ourselves, because we're not. We were right the first time.
No.
But I feel like this issue needs to be explained, because clearly he took offense to it. He took exception. He doesn't think he's a sexy Dracula, and we should probably document the reasoning behind the label of sexy Dracula to him. Of him.
Now,
about him.
I don't know.
Preposition him.
I don't know that he necessarily.
No, don't preposition him. That would probably be illegal.
I don't know that he necessarily took offense to it. He just said.
He said we're way off.
Quite a misfire.
Misfire.
He said it was off the mark.
Yes, it was a misfire. That's what he said.
Well, he is incorrect. Thank you for listening to this episode of Podcast Them Down. Oh, we should probably.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. So, all right. So, I believe what happened was I said he looks like a Dracula. We were looking at his band photo. It's a one-man project whose name escapes me at the moment. You know, our producer failed to get all the relevant information in front of us. So we didn't. So I said something along the lines of, he looks like a Dracula. And Mike said, sexy Dracula. And we all agreed, correct. So it was a black and white photo, if I remember correctly. With and he's
got fuck.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. It looked like a fucking sexy Dracula, because that's what he looked like.
No. I remember this picture clearly. All right, he had fuck me eyes, right? He's looking right at the camera, and they're like piercing, into your soul for this visual for the YouTube watchers. And then he's got like his mouth is like, I don't know if he's got like a shirt over. He's got some mouth covering, and
that's
then
right.
He's got like a trench coat.
And it's his mouth covering was one of those things that the CDC said, stop wearing those. It doesn't help protect you against COVID. You need a proper mask. That's the type of.
Oh, it was like a gator.
Yes, but it was black.
Gator.
Right.
But the whole photo, the background is black. It's grayscale. And to my mind, I instantly think, to make myself a complete nerd and at the risk of alienating you two, he looks like Alucard from Symphony of the Night from the PlayStation, which is he's a sexy Dracula.
The sexy Dracula. I have
that.
found the photo. So it's binary order.
That's
the
what
name
it
of
was.
the project.
He's British. I remember that.
He's British. His name, so Mike liked him already because it's a one-man project.
Yes.
Despite the name binary, because I guess you're either 0 or 1. Right? So that makes sense. Yeah, and I have made his picture, my screen background, like my desktop background, both at home and at work. And I can say, every day when I turn on the computer, I feel like inspired to work. And also, like they're very intense eyes gazing at me. And I feel both afraid and reassured.
I found
it's
his
a good
specific.
picture. Like
I found
just
the
to
binary order specific quote to our post. It was "Sexy Dracula is quite a misfire, but thanks for checking the album out, guys." Well, you're welcome.
Yeah, I as sarcastic as this sounds, it is a good picture. Like it's a good
great
promo picture. I remember that picture. It's a fantastic picture. He did a really good job.
If I had a photo of myself like this, I'd use it for my ID. I'd use it for all my social media. I would get a
Cupid
T-shirt. Yeah, OkCupid, Bumble, Hinge, Tinder. I would get a T-shirt printed of it and be like that bully in South Park who had his own face on his T-shirt. I wouldn't go anywhere without this photo.
Okay, I now have the photo in front of me. And did you mention the vertical lines?
I didn't, but that's another thing that makes it look vampiric.
It is. So you can only see from just above the tip of his nose up. He's got the fuck me eyes. He's
those are definite fuck me eyes.
He's got some hair covering his forehead, as many people do. Not me, and not Matt, and not Mike's, and no one here. But unlike us, he has hair covering part of his forehead, and he's got some sort of trench-like coat. It's not really a trench coat, but it's trench-like, and the collar's popped, and it's all just vampirific, or Draculian. There we go. Draculian. Yeah, and I mean between the Draculianness and the fuck me eyes, there you go. Sexy Dracula. Done and done.
Now I
go listen to Binary Order. I mean, I guess that's what we're saying.
Yeah, we should all get Binary Order. We should go to Linktree /Binary Order and check out all his things, like his Bandcamp, his Instagram, and his Patreon. But I would like to point you out to a photograph on his Facebook, which even further lends credence to the sexy Dracula theory. And that's a photo dated October 30th, 2018, which shows him with a beard covered in blood. And this is very clearly the immediate aftermath of the attack of the vampire that turned him into a sexy Dracula. Right?
So
we have this gentleman.
This is a recent development that he became a sexy Dracula.
Right, because the sexy Dracula photo is dated just over a year afterwards. It's November 18th, 2019. So there's a clear transformation. He was a regular man, attacked by a Dracula. We don't know if that Dracula was sexy, but nonetheless, the end result was this normal guy with a beard and a white t-shirt became a sexy Dracula.
I'd like to give a backstory here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
this
please.
Is purely from my own imagination. This was a hideous, unsexy Dracula. This was a gross Dracula.
Yeah.
And he's walking down the street and he's muttering to himself. It's like, yeah, these goddamn all these sexy Draculas. I'll show them. And he finds the sexiest dude he can think of and turns him into a Dracula. But normally I think when a gross Dracula bites you, it turns you into a gross Dracula, but not this time. So he made what he hated. This was a wonderful story that led to the creation of the sexy Dracula.
Hey, this is an impressive story.
Yeah, I really like this. This is a I don't know. Can we get who wrote Twilight? Somebody?
What's her name? Somebody.
Stephanie Meyer, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, we get Stephanie Meyer.
Thank you for the seamless transition. So I feel like we should talk about various Draculas and their sexiness.
Yes. Yeah. So I have lots of thoughts on this. If you don't mind me taking the start here. We've already established that there's at least sexy and gross Draculas.
Mm-hmm.
I think like a gross Dracula is going to be like your if you play like The Witcher 3, you're fighting Draculas, and they're all gross and they're like monstrous.
What think comes to my mind is the silent movie Nosferatu and the remake.
Mm-hmm.
That's a gross Dracula. Oh, he's gross as shit. That's
I mean,
I'm not thinking like what's it? Bram Stoker's Dracula the movie, which didn't that have Brad Pitt or someone in it? Keanu Reeves?
No, that had you're thinking of Interview with the Vampire has Tom Cruise.
Right, I'm getting my '90s sexy Draculas confused.
And I'm not, and Lestat. I also believe his Interview with the Vampire is also.
And Lestat is I think the quintessential sexy Dracula.
Yeah. And I forget if Tom Cruise is Lestat or if Brad Pitt is Lestat, but they're multiple sexy vampires in that thing. But I think Gary Oldman in Bram Stoker's Dracula is not that attractive a Dracula.
I'm getting that confused with Interview with the Vampire, which came out 2 years later, not to be confused with
and Tom Cruise is Lestat. Tom Cruise is Lestat.
Okay, yeah, Tom Cruise is Lestat.
Okay, so I mean, I steamrolled you, Mike. You need to complete your thought here.
The third type of Dracula that I can think of, and I'm sure there's more, but there's like a romantic Dracula, and this is your Edward Cullens. Right, these are the sparkly Draculas where sun isn't really an issue, and you can take a romantic Dracula home to your parents. You want to grow old with a romantic Dracula. I don't think you want to grow old with a sexy Dracula or a gross Dracula. I think that's like one of the key differentiators between these three types of Draculas.
Well, you can't grow old because that's the curse of a Dracula.
Well, I mean, like spend eternity with you want a relationship with a romantic Dracula, but you want a one night stand with a sexy Dracula, and you want a no night stand with a gross Dracula. That's basically those are the distinctions between the three. I think.
No, because I believe that Aaliyah from Queen of the Damned is a very sexy Dracula, and I would love to be both in a short-term and long-term relationship with Aaliyah, despite the fact that she would suck my bones out of my skin.
Well, that sounds like it could be fun, though.
Yeah. Okay. I think between a sexy and a romantic Dracula, and there is a difference. There is a distinction that I think is worth pointing out. Is that I would argue that you think you want a long-term relationship with a sexy Dracula, but that's just not how it's going to work. That ain't gonna that ain't. Oh Jesus, that's not how it's going to work, brother.
Because they're just too sexy.
They're too sexy. You can't control that.
They're too sexy for their fangs.
Yeah, you can't control a sexy Dracula. They are what they are. You have to run in with one. You have to accept it for what it is and just move on.
Yeah,
I feel like you're not gonna have a long-term monogamous Dracula though, because they are immortal, are they not? So, how tired are they of seeing the ones they love grow old and die, unless they too become Draculas, in which case all your monogamous Draculas are going to be monogamous for hundreds of years, for literally centuries. They're all taken. All the good Draculas are taken if they're monogamous.
Yeah. And also, I feel like Draculaism is a particular sensual, sexy activity.
Right.
So I think it would be very hard to maintain a monogamous relationship as a Dracula, even if you're a romantic Dracula, because you're always skulking around.
Right.
And appearing on people's doorsteps.
So all you're
flowers
gonna get,
and sparkling
all you're gonna get are fuckboy Draculas and what? Let me finish. Let me finish.
I wasn't prepared for fuckboy Draculas.
All you're gonna get are fuckboy Draculas and incel Draculas. That's all you're gonna get.
Oh no.
Oh no! And gross Draculas, I guess, would be thrown.
Oh, Yeah, absolutely. I don't know.
Maybe there's some overlap. There's a spectrum of Dracula.
That's right.
Here's a fun fact: if you type "incel Dracula" into Google, you just get a bunch of pictures of Stephen Miller.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. Oh God.
All right, so
These are all very important topics because if you're ever in the situation, you need to know what to do. You know,
That's
you
right.
have to be able to assess the type of Dracula that you're dealing with.
That's exactly what I was about to say. You need to assess the Dracula and decide what category this Dracula falls in. Don't fall in love unless you're prepared to become a Dracula yourself. I'm trying to
Shit!
I'm trying to look up the Gary Oldman, the Gary Oldman one to see where he falls.
So something awful still exists, apparently.
Yes.
And there's a post from October 2020 that says Nosferatu was an incel, and it says 1. Traveled hundreds of miles only to get shut down. 2. Slept in filth. 3. Desperately in need of a manicure. We really peeled an onion here.
This is a very complicated topic, guys. This is very complicated. It's very important. Sorry, Tim, what were you saying?
Why can't I find Gary Oldman as a Dracula? Come on. Shit.
I can tell you, he's an ugly Dracula.
Yeah, but is he ugly anonymous? Is he ugly end of the night at the bar? Fuckboy. Oh, there he is. Oh, that guy.
There's 2.
Right, because there's him like super old, right?
Well, so there's one version. I think the older version, kind of the movie. I believe it's been a long time, but I think they have flashbacks. So there's like the famous version that Mr. Burns appeared as.
Right. That's
like
the one I think of, and that's a gross Dracula.
Yeah,
who thinks
that's a gross Dracula?
Who thinks he's a sexy Dracula, but he's not. He's a gross Dracula,
right?
As opposed to,
I like his sexy silk robe.
As opposed to Nosferatu, who clearly knew he was a gross Dracula.
Yeah,
and
he's
the
thing is. This isn't when I was saying gross Dracula, I was thinking like feral, and this is just like creepy.
Okay.
There's clearly a difference. I guess there's gross subtypes. There's like there's one where it's like literally a rabid bat type creature or whatever, and then there's one where it's like able to function in society, but as an incel or a fuckboy.
So Gary Oldman in Bram Stoker's Dracula, younger version of him, and there he just dresses like Trent Reznor dresses. He has like colored sunglasses.
Oh, so he was a sexy Dracula. So sexy Draculas can turn into gross Draculas.
I'm not sure he's sexy. Like if Gary Oldman knocked on my door with this like stovepipe hat,
right,
and his colored glasses, I wouldn't let him.
The aesthetic is steampunk with the wrong color palette.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So you would say that he was still a gross Dracula then? He just
now if I might turn you to the Underworld franchise, for example. So Bill Nighy, right? So he plays one of the vampire leaders.
Wait, Bill Nye, the science guy?
No, not Bill Nye, but English actor Bill Nighy. So you know him best as the Squid Man from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Oh. Why did? Yes, that is how I know him best. You know me a little too well.
Yeah, I do. So he's kind of gross. What's his character's name? They all have like vaguely Victor. Victor is Bill Nighy's character. So he plays an older Dracula. He is not. I don't think he kind of straddles the gross, sexy line. You can tell he was once a sexy vampire, but is now very much a grosser, older vampire.
I thought Draculas don't age, though. I thought that was like one of their features, but clearly, that is not consistent across franchises.
Well, I think in his case, he is one of like the Council of Elders of Vampire. I forget the exact mythology of Underworld, but he's like thousands and thousands of years old. So maybe they age very slowly, or maybe it's one of those things where you become a vampire when the age you are, like you freeze.
That's gotta suck. What if you get bit like right on your deathbed? So then you're
like a decrepit vampire.
Yeah, that's gotta be just the worst. I mean, maybe you'd get your mobility and stuff back, but what an awful thought.
Are you aware of Shadow of the Vampire?
No. What's that?
I'm aware of Shadows of the Empire.
Okay, Shadow of the Vampire was a 2000 movie, kind of like about the making of Nosferatu, but it stars John Malkovich and Willem Dafoe. But
that sounds interesting.
I think it's Willem Dafoe is playing the guy who played Nosferatu, but in the movie it turns out he's really a vampire, and that's why he's so good at playing it. So, but the thing is, I look at it, and like if you just glance at it, you could swear that's Bill Hader. And so now I have Willem Dafoe, John Malkovich, and Bill Hader in my head as ugly vampires, gross vampires. You know, they're not your sexy vampires.
We're not really we're not talking enough about romantic Draculas.
Right. You're right.
Your Edward Cullen is clearly a romantic Dracula, I think.
Well, I think romantic Draculas are basically an invention of the Twilight era.
Oh,
I don't think they really exist beyond that. I mean, are Anne Rice? I feel like Anne Rice vampires are sexy vampires.
What about
maybe tragically sexy?
What about True? Is it True? What's the HBO?
True Blood?
Oh, that show is my favorite show, and I've only seen one episode. Dude, I saw one episode of this.
I'm pretty sure. Finish. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I saw one episode of this, and the whole thing was basically like, so all I know is it's Sookie, and Sookie's got like this Southern Belle kind of thing going on, and you know, everybody's otherwise just like a sexy Dracula. She's just this girl surrounded by sexy Draculas everywhere, just sexy Draculas and sexy Draculas. But all this ridiculous shit happens where you're like, Sookie, I love you. I'm gonna go fight the vampire queen, and then she's like, you're gonna fight the vampire queen for me. And then, you know, beyond that, you know, they fight the vampire queen, and then some random guy's like, Sookie, you're part fairy. She's like, I'm part fairy. And then that's the whole end of the episode. That is my entire understanding of True Blood, is that Sookie is just surrounded by the sexiest man imaginable and then goes off into the fairy realm. It's a wonderful, wonderful show as far as I know.
I'm pretty sure that I have not watched it, but I'm pretty sure that show is watchable until they introduce werewolves, like all these franchises do out of nowhere. They're like, oh, let's add some werewolves. But, you know, that's a different episode, the werewolf episode. So.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I feel like, and that's ultimately the problem of being any kind of Dracula, whether you're a sexy Dracula or a incel Dracula or a fuckboy Dracula or many of the other categories we've explored. You know, much like I think zombies, not zombie metal, but zombie fiction. You know, there's only so many things a zombie story can do. You're either running from zombies or hiding from zombies or fighting zombies. And so, like, what can Draculas do? They can bite you, sexify you, and then bite you, terrorize you, and then bite. Yeah, there's just diminishing returns on the Dracula.
But Draculas can fight against their urges too. Like if they're noble Draculas.
Ooh,
okay, yeah.
There's a new one.
So maybe we could have noble zombies who are fighting against their urge to eat brains.
I believe, off the top of my head, I'd say that the best friend at the end of Shaun of the Dead is a noble zombie by the end of it. So
yeah,
because he's like chained up and playing video games, right?
Yeah,
he's not eating his best friend Sean.
I need to briefly, by the way, read from Wikipedia an entry from season 6 of True Blood.
God damn.
Bill asks Sookie for help, who is considering becoming Warlow's vampire fairy bride after discovering her parents tried to kill her when she was young. So the whole concept of having a vampire fairy bride, I find fairly hysterical.
I find it surprising that True Blood ran out of ideas so quickly. The Walking Dead, I know Walking Dead went on too long, but they just they hit the bottom of the well pretty quickly too. They're like,
yeah,
what if? And that's why it turned into torture porn. And it's just like, stop it,
right? Because that's all you can do.
You didn't try.
But the comic was that way too, though. So I had actually read some of the comic in college, which was before the show. And I stopped at a certain point. I was like, I just can't do this because all the comic is these characters getting their ass kicked over and over and over again. It's like it's just not worth this.
Yes, but that's a discussion for another episode. Let's bring it back to vampires. And wrap this up.
Sorry, no,
it's fine.
Yeah, I think there are ways to do new takes on Draculas.
The reason I stopped doing the zombie thing is I feel like that would be an hour-long episode because I have many thoughts on zombies.
Or an RVG album.
That's right. So yeah, that's why I want to table it. Get back to Draculas, and then once Matt starts talking again, I'll interrupt him again. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so
and the other thing,
I'm just saying there are. Oh man, I think Draculas Draculas are good in discrete and then breaked stories. Like you can tell the story of a Dracula. For example, the Dracula who is the front man and only man of the band Binary Order, right? Uh-huh. You can tell those stories, but you can't really tell a serialized continuing story. Like flashbacks are great in Dracula stories. You get to see them. Oh, here they are in Vinland teaching people how to make wine. And then the next thing you know, they're in I don't know, Java in the 11th century or something, right? But what's awful is just seeing their whole serialized lives, every boring beat, right? Because the life of a Dracula has got to be incredibly dull.
I don't know.
I bet a sexy Dracula, a sexy fuckboy Dracula is probably not dull, or maybe he's become bored with his lifestyle.
Yeah.
And is just going through the oh, that's sad. That could be sad. Oh no, being sexy Dracula might not be awesome. It might be a tragic thing. Maybe that's why he thought we were off base because because because
that's a tragic. Like Hugh Hefner was a mummy, not a Dracula, right? And Hugh Hefner got bored of sex in any regular configuration within like 30 years of becoming Hugh Hefner, and he lived for another 80 years after that. So, I mean, imagine this with a new like 1 or 2 zeros after that 80, and that's the life of a sad, sexy Dracula.
It's
tragic.
Sad, sexy Dracula lives in Milan, goes to nightclubs. People start hitting at him. He's like, "Oh, fine."
Like he can only get off if you turn on a sun lamp.
Maybe that's why they bring werewolves into the equation.
Yeah.
We should. There should be a story about a lapsed Dracula who's just trying to live a normal life after being a sexy Dracula for an interminably long amount of time. He's just like, I just kind of want to go to work.
Yeah, like he's an accountant.
I just, I've done that. I lived in Paris. I was at every nightclub, and now I just want a house. I just want a yard.
He's like the night manager of a motel, like an airport motel.
But he loves it. He loves it.
I've never felt so alive.
I love it.
Not in 400 years.
I really like this. I like this idea because all of a sudden you can have sexy Draculas campaigning against worker automation.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to preserve their own jobs that give them value. There's a lot that we can go really far with this concept. I like it.
So you think a lot of Draculas would be really into workers' rights?
Yeah, because they're just trying to. They've done all of the sexy, 50 Shades of Grey shit, and they're just trying to get 2.5 kids and a dog. That's what they want.
Yeah,
I'm kind of thinking. I'm bringing it back to the Nosferatu and Bram Stoker's. They're both aristocrats. They're counts or whatever. They have property. They have land. I feel like they'd be down on workers' rights. Maybe this is like two factions. Maybe the fuckboy Draculas are very pro labor, and maybe the ugly Draculas, the incel Draculas, are all landowning.
Yeah. These are the gross Draculas, the aristocrat gross Draculas, the feral and the aristocratic. Dracula.
I mean, I could see some aristocratic Draculas still like wanting to do projects, right? So maybe there's an even finer distinction here, where I'm not sure Draculas in general are blanketly pro workers' rights. Right. For example, they want long hours at night, right? So they would hate like a 36-hour work week.
Yeah, but they want third shift. They want third shift, nothing but third shift.
Nothing but third shift. So again, I think they're very selective as to what they require.
I mean, like all demographics, there's a surprising variance in the politics.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
It makes sense.
So, all right.
This is a deep topic.
It is, and I think we've covered all our bases. So, unless you have anything else,
I've never been more fascinated or aroused.
I would like to end this by saying, binary order. We love you.
We love you.
Thank you.
We do.
Sorry,
but
sorry if this comes across as making fun of you. That's not
never change. Never change.
It's clearly, as we've discussed for like a half hour now. It's not a bad thing to be a sexy Dracula, and we assume you're the fuckboy type. So kudos to you.
Well, yeah. Let's bring our hearts up.
Heart.
Audio medium.
I can do a little heart.
Well, that's for the YouTube audience.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that was a YouTube exclusive.
That was our patented every episode on Podcast I'm Down, we like to give you a YouTube moment, and that was one of them.
There you go.
There you go.
You're welcome. All right. Thanks for listening. Links in the description to something, probably binary order. I'm guessing. All right. Until next time, keep it sexy.
Dracula.
Keep it Dracula.
Keep it sexy Dracula.
Keep it sexy.
I haven't laughed that hard in a long time.
I can also tell you, if you type in "sexy Dracula NSFW" into Google, you get a lot of weird ads.